that all feature actual odd couples. And in our second story, we are very privileged to host a conversation between two important thinkers on issues surrounding food, the environment, and ethics. First, we have Tyler Cowen. Tyler is a professor of economics at George Mason University. He blogs at Marginal Revolution, America's most popular economics blog. And then we have a gentleman who needs little introduction. He's a farmer, poet, novelist, activist, and philosopher. He has been called the patron saint of Advent. Wendell Berry was honored just this spring as the National Endowment for the Humanities Jefferson Lecturer. Please welcome Tyler Cowen and Wendell Berry. Wendell, welcome. You must feel at home here.
I certainly do. It is gratifying and, if not rather surprising, as an old man, to find the ideas I have attempted to communicate to be well received and seemingly in vogue, especially among the youth of today. In fact, I am delighted to see so many familiar faces from my recent lecture. And a special greeting to my friends in the Occupy Meadowkirk encampment. I am very impressed at how you are able to weave such durable, waterproof fabrics in your local economy.
Wendell, you mentioned that your message seems to resonate with our audience. Why is that?
Well, Daniel, there are two kinds of people in America, boomers and stickers. Boomers are an ambitious, greedy, acquisitive people, and their way of life has become dominant in the industrial economy. Stickers are those motivated by affection for family, for the land, for animals, and for that which is divine. What we have seen in the last many decades is the ultimate bankruptcy of the boomer way. And affection offers a way to live in peace with the land and others. We can have a good life with our families, in our communities, cherishing and loving. We do not have to live as if we are alone.
Tyler, any thoughts on this?
Well, I agree with much of what you say about the good life. But I wonder about your emphasis on land. The vast majority of humans who ever lived never owned land, and not many more have stewarded land. I mean, these people sure don't look like farmers. In the United States, increasingly fewer people are farmers. You've lamented this trend yourself. But we as a country and a world are providing material well-being for more people than ever before.
Tyler, I do not accept your so-called well-being, at least as measured by the tools of economics.
Well, how would you measure well-being otherwise?
There are some things whose value exceeds human ability to calculate, that have absolute value, and affection gives us a way to understand that absolute value.
It sounds like affection is simply another thing that can be valued. If I'm reading you correctly, in your ideal world, affection is enforced by circumstance. You need affection to live well and maintain life in a small community. In industrial society, we don't need affection to acquire the means of life. Money is enough. However, there's no reason we can't choose to cultivate affection if it leads to a good life. If we decide it's valuable, we can get it. Markets and everything.
If, as you say, urban dwellers could cultivate affection if they chose to, then why don't they?
I don't think economics has ever had a good answer to that question.
Tyler, what would you have to say to some of the bright, young, socially conscious citizens of our city?
Well, your green lifestyle may bring you great pleasure and personal satisfaction, but I would ask if you've considered the millions of lives it harms here and around the world.
What's that?
For all its supposed altruism, the rule-based approach to green living, kind of self-centeredness. It ignores a truly worrisome slowdown in agricultural productivity that reduces the food supply. In the long run, this means higher prices for food, and it means more starvation and malnutrition. Limiting a long-distance food supply chain not only hinders efficient food production, it achieves very little, given that transportation accounts for less than 15% of the total energy consumed by the American food system.
So are you suggesting that we all become boomers, participants in an absentee economy?
I'm not convinced there's a moral defect in an absentee economy. People all around the world are free to contribute as best they can, and if you want to get to know them, you have that option.
Well, Wendell, what would your advice be to today's socially conscious young?
Well, I don't know that I have much in the way of advice, but I do have a comment. I have heard that some of the people in the federal city like to make a peculiar Sabbath sacrament of a meal known as brunch, especially brunch served with the kind of food that is grown on a farm like mine. They may think they are respecting the land economy, but in truth they revel over these mimosas in their industrial way of being while making feeble gestures to a way of life that they eschew Monday through Saturday. On my farm, there is no brunch. Tommy and I are up with the sun, tending the animals, because we want to make it to a proper Sunday morning church service. Nonetheless, I do believe, Daniel, that it is good to see some of the, at least psychological gestures toward the permanent things. In my life, I have not had reason to be hopeful about much, but I do see some signs of renewal.
Wendell, I can't agree with you that these are psychological gestures, but I do think they're misguided. You know, there was a time when everything was local and organic, we had full employment, farming was a family enterprise, and people were really tied to the land. We called it the Dark Ages.
Come now, that sort of argument whitewashes the modern trial, our modern Dark Ages, when we are displaced and scattered, but try to dignify our plight using words like mobility and growth.
That may be, but would you agree that improvements in agriculture and food supply chains have contributed to people not starving?
We may be growing more food, but that means little when big industrial concerns are ravaging the land with little thought to the health of the land community.
That's a broad generalization. We're not talking about mountaintop removal or the like. Modern agriculture has actually relieved pressure on the land. In our country, for 100 years, the area that we cultivate has remained the same while feeding nearly 4 times as many people.
We may be using less land, but are we using it wisely? Are people sticking to the land?
Well, for your first point, agribusiness wants desperately and greedily to economize on costs. Since land is expensive, they want to use it as best they can. Technological progress and agricultural commercialization have brought lasting improvements to the lives of billions of people. Without starvation as a looming threat, billions have been able to explore opportunities for education, for new inventions, scientific discoveries, even arts, and they can build happy lives for their families. For all the problems, agribusiness is a model to build on and improve upon, not throw away. And when you think about it, ambition makes most of it possible and sustainable.
Well, then, Tyler, I don't know what to say. You just sound like a boomer to me.
Thank you very much. Tyler Cowen.